Hi, what would you like to talk about today?
Hi, I would like to talk about my entire life, my experience since I was a teenager. So, I graduated from high school in 2001. I joined the army. I went to Missouri for Leavenworth. I did my basic training. Um, I had a medical injury. I broke my knees when I was in the service, and I chose medical discharge. I didn't want to choose disability because my goal was get back to the service. 2 years after my knees was healed, when I went back to the service, I found out that I was pregnant. So I wasn't able to enjoy the service because of my pregnancy. So I decided to leave the army completely to be a mom. So I had my daughter. I became a mom. I didn't go to school. I just stayed home with my kid. When my daughter turned 2 years old, I decided to go back to college. When I went back to college, I went for criminal justice. I always want to be a cop. I want to be a detective, narcotics. So after I graduated from college, I got a job as a correction officer. I did correction officer for 6 years. Um, from there, I was missing a lot of time with my kid. I didn't spend no time with my daughter. Law enforcement career is amazing, but the time is you have to work overnight, double shift. You have to work every weekend, every holiday in the year, at least for the first 10 years of your life. So I was missing a lot of my daughter. I was picking my kids at midnight. I didn't spend time with my daughter. She was working she was at school in the morning. I was working at night. So I had like maybe 2 hours to see my kid. No more than that.
Every day?
Every single day.
No days off.
No days off. I had weekdays off, but she was in school in the morning.
Okay, and this was after college.
That was after college.
Okay.
And on the weekends, I have to work 3 to 11. So she was sleeping during the day. We had maybe like 2 hours. So I decided to get a different job, and I found a job as a residential counselor. It was completely the opposite of my career. But I like the hours. It was Monday to Friday, holidays and weekends off. So when I first joined, I was only 10 minutes away from home. When I first joined, it was different working with teenagers, but being in the system from DCPMP, DCF, changed the name so many times. And I started working with youth with mental health problems, behavior, you name it, they have it. So I started enjoying working with teenagers. I realized that that was my passion. I never struggled when I was a teenager, but my father has a rough childhood, and that's why he became an alcoholic.
Okay.
And that took his life with the time, unfortunately. So some teenagers, they go through a lot, and they feel like the only escape that they have is drugs, alcohol, friends, gangs. And now I'm working on my master's degree on psychology and addiction.
Okay, so now you're working.
I'm a social worker.
Okay, but you're still in school.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm doing online classes.
Okay.
And this year, 2018, I decided to move out of the state after 21 years living in the state of Massachusetts. I decided to give myself a chance working in a different state for more better opportunity for my job.
And why did you decide that big change?
It wasn't easy. It was hard, but the state of Massachusetts is hard to find a job. It's hard to find a job. Being Latina, being Spanish is really hard. It's not a diverse state like the state of New Jersey, and school system in here is good for my daughter. My daughter's gonna go to high school. She's a teenager, so I decided to make the change to give myself a chance.
Okay, and are you working here now then?
Yes, I'm a social worker.
As a social worker. Okay, and
Yeah.
how is that going?
In the beginning, it was struggle. My daughter stayed back home with my mother. I'm really close with my mom, with my dad. With my sister, with my brother, my friends. The beginning it wasn't easy, but at least I have family here that they support me 100%. So the first few months, obviously, a change is a change. It was a different environment for me. I always grew up near like people from my own country. Here is diverse. I met a lot of different people. It's a multicultural state, which now I like it, But in the beginning, it wasn't easy to adjust to new job, new apartment, new everything. Not be able to see my daughter on a daily basis, not be able to see my friends daily, not be able to see my mom. But I like the job. It's overwhelming, working with a lot of families, a lot of teenagers. DCPMP is not easy. That's the new name for DIFUS.
Okay. Is it the same as the job that you had back home?
This one is more responsible. Because back home I was working with teenagers with behavior problems. Here you're working with behavior and mental health.
Okay.
And with kids that they've been taken away from the parents.
And how do you like that?
I mean, I know how to manage my stress level. I mean, at the beginning it's hard seeing kids removed from the parents. But comes one point in your life that you have to think about them, their safety. And sometimes it's better to do that. Unfortunately, on the state of New Jersey, there's not that many resources, houses. They can put the kids, and the state have to leave the kids with the parents. And depends on the abuse. If the abuse escalates to a point that is a risk, a danger, they have to be removed. But this is a minor abuse. For an example, if you have a child and your boyfriend child molests your child, he will get arrested, but they will leave the kid with you. Because state of New Jersey, they really do not have a lot of places to place those kids.
Oh, wow.
It's too many.
Oh, my God. And then, so, all these cases, do you feel connected with any of them?
I mean, not at the moment, because you have to learn yourself how to keep your boundaries. When I first started working on the field, yes. But that's not healthy, because you get connected to a point that you want to help everyone and you can't save everyone. So it sounds cruel, sounds maybe hard, but you can't connect yourself with the cases. Because if you connect yourself with your heart, you won't be able to do your job, because you're going to get burned down and you're going to get overwhelmed, because you're going to take your job home. And that's become a problem. So you need to understand that you can help the family the most you can, but you can save everyone. It's impossible.
No, yeah. No, because it's hard.
It is hard. And sadly, they've been in the system for a while, and just because you're there for 2 or 3 months, you can make an impact.
No.
No, there's no way. My goal, I mean, I gave a proposal to my supervisor today, actually, about doing group support.
What's groups?
It's clinical group support for young females and male with lower self-esteem. It's a high risk of suicidal, of juvenile, so they try to kill themselves because of bullying, and lower self-esteem is really high. We have a lot of caseload for that, and I'm trying to get a group support for them to come to talk about them, to see that it's all the people, they struggle with the same situation: bullying, sexual misconduct, drugs, alcohol. All the people, they suffer the same.
So those are very important to you.
It is. My father died for an addiction, so it is.
Tell me a little bit more about that.
He was the best father in this world, the best grandpa in this world. When my grandma, back in the time she had him, she wasn't really married with his father. It was like she was the side person. So she got pregnant. He was married with somebody else, and his aunt never accepted him because he was a kid from the street. So she always make him feel bad about it. And according to him, he decided to start drinking when he was 16 because all the problems that he was having at home.
Wow.
So his mom was overprotector, and his aunt wasn't.
His aunt wasn't?
No, she was extremely strict. So, I mean, he went to school, he went to college, he was smart, but unfortunately, he couldn't leave drinking. So one thing came to another one.
Okay.
When you start drinking, when you're an addict, you need your dose higher and higher and higher and higher. You're gonna drink more and more. It comes to a point that you're gonna overdose.
And how about those help centers?
Sadly, you have to do the first step that you want to change. We all believe that we are the only one that have this problem. Unfortunately, it's not that many center that they really provide with support. Most of the center, especially the state of New Jersey, they change it. It have to be clinical. If you don't have a clinical background, you cannot run a group support. So AAA meeting people, the person that used to run that is another alcoholic person. So at least this state they don't allow that anymore.
Okay.
So it have to be a clinical. So sadly, they get and disappear. It's not many group support up there because of the clinical.
So what you're saying is he didn't get the help that he needed?
He did, but I mean his addiction was higher than the help. He really never wants to put his 100%. If you put it 100%, you're always gonna be an addict, not always gonna be an addict, but you have to live day by day. You have to be clean 24 hours. You have to think about 24 hours only. Not I'm gonna be clean for the rest of my life because it's not happening. It's impossible.
Okay, and do you feel like maybe the work that you do collaborates with what happened to him?
That's my goal. Get a rehab center to help people for free. But like I said, the state requires too many proposal. It have to be clinical. Eventually, you need a psychiatrist. I mean, if the state maybe will support more people around here, I mean, it's not only drugs and alcohol. You have a lot of kids that they on medication since day 5, age of 5, age of 7. They have ADHD and they taking Vicodin. I mean, that's a narcotic medication. Percocet, Trazodone, 800 milligrams. So by the age of 18, they become an addict. I seen them when I used to work at a prison. A lot of kids, they were on medication. Every state is different.
But kids at the prison or?
I mean, teenagers.
Teenagers.
But when they were kids, they used to take medication. At the age of 18, they cut it off on the insurance. They've been taking medication since they were 8 years old. They've been taking medication for 10 years. Your body needs it. So that's why and then using heroin. Because cocaine is not a high level medication, how they want to call. So they need something stronger. I mean, the brain, that's how it functions. You need something stronger and stronger and stronger. Because if you're taking one pill, it's not doing anything for you. After a few months, it's not doing anything because your body's used to that dose. So you need to get higher dose. And unfortunately, that's why I help people overdose.
Yeah, and you used to see that a lot in your prison?
Yes, and I see that a lot now too.
And now in your current job?
Yes.
With the children that you go visit
Yes.
and...
They overdose, they try to suicide, they try to homicide. They extremely high when you have a teenager with bipolar disorder or schizophrenia disorder and they doing drugs, they see a lot of hallucination. They hear voices. They hear that they want to kill people. So they not really in the right mind. So you see that a lot. I mean, I seen you that destroy entire house and he was only 11 years old.
Wow.
And he has schizophrenia.
And he destroyed his whole house?
The entire house. We have to call the police.
Really? And the police took him?
Unfortunately, they have to take him to the hospital to be admitted. They can't take him to jail because he's not competent.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's crazy.
It is. I seen a lot.
And how do you think that's affecting you, or do you think...
On the beginning, it did. On the beginning, it was judgmental.
In which part?
And the part that I couldn't understand how you let your kids to get into that level at the age of 10. How you get at 3 years old to disrespecting you.
But it's hard.
It is hard. And a lot of parents, they don't have the knowledge what is mental disorder means. I mean, a lot of people think you're crazy.
Yeah, I know.
And you can use other coping skills and medication. I don't think medication is the only coping skills that they can use. And they want to solve everything with meds. They want to keep the kids.
The parents, you're saying?
Yes, the parents. Some of them, they need therapy too, because they don't know how to manage the overwhelming, which I'm sure is overwhelming, having a kid crying every single day at school, calling you on a daily basis because you saw him run away and jump into front of the car.
Oh my God.
He got completely naked in the entire classroom because God told him to.
What?
And the only person can change him is God. Nobody else can change him. So I'm sure it's overwhelming. I
Very.
mean, therapy is not helping. You doing everything on your power is not helping. When you have your kid that you're not accepting that he's gay, and he become defiant because he don't feel he's being accepting, and you have to call. I met him in a psych hospital for 2 months. It's overwhelming because you feel fear for your life because he broke your mother's hips because you threw through the stairs. I mean, it's overwhelming. I mean, I think it's hard for them.
But like you said, your goal is to help those kids
Yes, because and the parents too.
and the parents, of course.
It depends how you grow up. Some parents they don't accept when they have a mental problem or they have a sexual preference. Rejecting them is affecting them. So if you reject your kids because he's gay or she's lesbian, you rejecting, you pushing her to do something worse. Especially if they have a mental disorder. They're not clearly thinking right, so they're not taking medication. You don't believe in meds, so you think your only solution is send them out of the country. And when he get back, he can worse. So it is. I mean, some of them too, especially suicidal, when they have a low self-esteem, they've been bullied in school. All they do is they want to die. Because they feel what is the point for them to be alive. So that's, eventually I would like to help people to at least feel better with themselves. That eventually will be my proposal.
Okay, but you're already doing that.
I'm trying to. I'm working on my license. When I get my license, I think I can do better when I get my master.
Okay, but you're still in school to get your master's. A master's in what?
Social worker and addiction.
And addiction. Yeah, because that's very important to you, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and what else?
I mean, I hope eventually the state can help people like me that want to do something for the other people. If the state will support you financially, I think we can open more rehab center.
I know.
They spend a lot of money on other things.
Absolutely.
They spend a lot of money on Christmas light, a lot of places, but they don't spend money on rehab center. Youth are being abused by parents. They don't have residential center. They don't have residential program. They don't have any kind of programs
To help people.
to help people.
Yeah.
The easy way is jail and bring them to the hospital, to a rehab hospital. And I don't know if you've ever been on those rehab hospital. It's worse when they tie you in a bed like you're in prison. They do physical restraint. And when someone is going through a depression, I don't think physical restraint is the best option. Because they feel worse. Because if you're nobody loved, then nobody understands them. So I guess even more complicated.
No, you're absolutely right. So, you feel that if you would get more help from the government, then you can give more help, correct?
If they can approve the proposal with financial, yes. But unfortunately, everything is come with money. They won't provide a place just to do a rehab center. Before, it was able to do group support. Now you have to be clinical.
Okay.
And not everyone that has a clinical thinks about the money, because remember, if you're working for the government, you're doing it for free. You're not getting charged. You're not getting paid for it.
Okay.
And not everyone is willing to do that. So the requirement that they require is way too much for one person to do it.
Which requirements?
They require clinical license. Clinical is different. Yeah, they have the LPD, LSW. You need the LSW. To get into that one you need like at least 10 or 15 years of service. You need a PH. So the requirements is higher. If you have a PH, you can make $150 a year. Not everyone wants to volunteer to work for free to help other people. So if the requirement will be, it won't be that much. Maybe we will have more support, or they will provide like a place to run the group support. They don't provide any places.
Yeah, because everything is based on money.
It's based on money. The proposal, financial, everything is based on money.
And but you have to keep trying and trying, because can you imagine if we all don't try because of the money?
I know, but eventually I'm gonna get old. I will have the energy to do it.
Yes, you.
When you have a kid that is 15 years old and they spit on your face and they tell you the F word and they screw you, and by law you can't restrain because it's against the law nowadays. They changed the law 4 years ago.
I know, but you have the patience, correct?
You learn how to have patience. You learn how to have patience. Before I didn't.
At all?
I used to work at the prison. It was completely the opposite. You restrain people. You throw people.
Tell me
to
a
the
little
floor.
bit about your job at the prison.
It was amazing.
Really?
Yeah.
So okay, you loved your job at the prison,
I like criminal justice.
but you also like social work.
Yes, it's almost the same. It is a combination.
Okay, tell me a little bit about your job at the prison.
I mean, when I first walked in, I was afraid. A female, tiny, in a male prison.
All male?
Yes, it was a male prison. My
Okay.
first overnight, it was a maximum security. So when I saw, I mean, the way I grew up, I didn't see many people with tattoos. So when I saw someone coming completely tattooed, he was doing 24 years because he killed someone. You freaked out. I mean, when you had 20,200 inmates knocking on the door like a psycho at the same time at 2 in the morning. I mean, you get scared.
On your first night.
On my first night. Then with the time, you get a click, you respect them, they respect you. If you cross the line with them, they won't hesitate to cross the line with you.
Okay.
It's not like TV. Jail is not like prison. I mean, like TV
Like
show.
TV shows.
No, it's not. It's 90% boring and 10% action. Maybe it's one fight, maybe a month.
Really?
Yes, it's not like TV show. Like a fight every day is impossible. I mean, back on the time, yes. Nowadays they get legally charged. As soon as you fight
okay.
with another inmate, you get 3.5 automatically on top of your sentence.
3.5 years?
Yes,
Wow, okay.
on top of your sentence. So that's why inmate try not to fight anymore. But when you have an inmate that they do in life, and you as an officer disrespecting him, they don't care. One of my coworkers, she got assaulted and she cracked her neck and she got paralyzed for the rest of her life. Because
Wow.
he punched her on her face and it was
An
on the second
inmate?
floor. Yeah. He was doing life. What he's gonna do, another life?
Oh my god.
That's why you have to be respectful so they can respect you.
So why did you leave your prison job?
Because of my daughter. I want to spend more time with my kids.
Oh, that's right. Yes, you wanted to.
She was
spend more
running,
time.
eventually she was gonna get a teenager. Mommy needs to be home. I mean, I was missing everything. I wasn't able to spend time with my family, with my mom, my daughter, anyone.
Do you see yourself going back?
Unfortunately, my age won't allow me.
Why?
You have to be 35. That's the max age to be a law enforcement. But eventually, I would like to be probation officer, working in the court system.
Okay.
With teenagers.
Your passion is teenagers.
It is. Actually, it is. I think they do have hope, and I feel like they don't know that they have hopes. I think they believe just because they teenagers and they get away so many times from the court system, they believe or they assume it's not affecting them in the future, which is well. Because back on the time, yes, when you were a teenager, you were charged, you would stay as a juvenile. Now we'll follow you as an adult. All your cases would be transferred over. So I think a lot of them, they don't have the knowledge and they think just because they're teenager. So when they grow up out of the mentality, they want to go to college, they can because college won't accept if you have criminal charges.
Oh.
Yes, they won't.
Yeah.
They won't pay financial aid.
No.
They won't even take if you have drug charges. Depends on your charges.
Yeah, that's why it's important to teach them.
It's not easy.
No. Well, thank you for sharing with us,
You're welcome.
and we hope to see you back soon.
Thank you.